Hello, welcome everybody. Today I'm going to be going through my Mario game. So I'm actually going to show you all of my code and let you guys see what it is that I used in order to create my Mario Brothers game. Now, this is stuff I didn't want to show you right away in the beginning because I wanted you to figure out a lot of it on your own, right? So after I give you the base game, I mean, everything else after that takes a little more thought, but doesn't require a ton, right? Getting started is usually the hardest thing. Making it what it is what you want, asking questions about how do you make your character die, how do you do a power up, that sort of thing. Those are good questions, but I didn't want to like give you that stuff from the get go. I wanted to make you think of it. So now's the time in which you're more than halfway through your game, and it's time for me to like show you how I do things and see if you can put similar things together for your sprite. So let me share my screen with you. This is probably going to be a long video. I have a lot of stuff, right? I'm going to show you also how to comment things because I'm going to need you to comment your code. So let me share my screen with you and we'll get started. Okay. So first thing, let's get to Snap. Here is my Mario. You'll notice I'm on my star right now. Let me, man, maybe this stuff is like in the way for you guys, but let me just leave it there for a minute. And so I'm on my star right now. You'll notice these comments that are on here. And the comments are actually pretty important. So if I right click and I go add a comment, right, I can put a comment on any bit of code, right? Okay. I want you to do this for all of your code. Notice now, not every single line, right? You can chunk it up. Like this is a forever loop and an if loop. So I just have one comment on it, right? So it says, shows the star whenever Mario does not have the star power and the scene is set to number 1. Okay. So I don't like have a comment on show or hide, right? That wouldn't make sense. It'd be too much. So this is how I want you to comment stuff. So you'll see it as I go through. Take it as an example. You'll also notice in my functions, I comment my functions. Okay. It's not difficult. It does make you think a little bit, and I want you to comment everything here. All right. Very much like I have it. Okay, so let's go to Mario first. He's got the most code on him. This is a lot of stuff that you've seen before, okay? So I have, and let's start down here, right? So I initialize his code. So what does initialization mean? It means I start him right here, okay? That's important to me. He starts with 3 lives, okay? His star power is 0. And he's in the front layer, set to a certain size, all that stuff. Okay, that's important. I just call that initialization code. That's all I say. Okay, because it's pretty standard for every single sprite you have on here. And now I need to make my sprite move to different scenes, right? So you guys have seen this before. So if my X position is greater than 200, I'm going to broadcast that he moves screen right, and I'm going to wait a second. Same thing over here. If my X position is less than 200, I want to move the scene left. And then up here, here's where this is called. So I'm just checking, is my scene number greater than 1? Okay, because if it's at scene 1, I don't want to move the scene left. So then I change Mario's position by 400, and then I change my variable scene number by -1. I decrease it. And then it's the opposite over here. If the scene number is less than 3, because if I'm on the 3rd screen, I don't want to change screens. I don't want to be able to go right anymore. I decrease Mario's X position by 400, and then I set the scene number, I change it by 1. Okay, increase it. Going down, in a forever loop now, I want to make sure I'm always on the front layer. I use my movement function. Okay, if I hit the key arrow left or key arrow right, I'm either changing X by -5 or 5. If I'm on the edge, I bounce, which creates a lot of problems. Actually, I wouldn't do that again if I had the choice. I just hadn't changed it yet. And then I point in the right direction. Okay, and that's for each of these. So this is in a forever loop. This is always running all the time. Okay, gravity is always running all the time in a forever loop. Notice how ugly that looks, right? But I'm able to. So this is just saying, if I'm touching this sprite, which sprite, that's my hole. I want to fall. Makes sense, right? But if I'm touching the ground or any one of these blocks that I have up here, I don't want to fall. Okay, so that's why I have all the or statements connected to the not statement over here. Okay, pretty simple reading through it, but it looks super ugly, right? Okay, if Mario's touching the star Mario set to 1. If Mario is touching the high jump, set high jump Mario to 1. Okay, very simple. When I push the up arrow, I jump. So let's look at jump. Again, really ugly, but this just means I can only jump when I'm touching the ground or when I'm touching one of the blocks. If I don't have this in here, if I'm in midair, I can jump, which doesn't make sense. Okay, so I have a jump animation. I also have a high jump Mario, so this in here lets me jump higher if it's set equal to 1. If it's equal to 0, like it is in the beginning, I don't jump very high, right? And I switch to my costume, my Mario jump costume. All right, I'll be surprised if this thing doesn't like crash on me at some point. So if that happens, just bear with me. All right, here we go. When I receive reset, so this happens usually when I die or some other times during the game. I reset Mario to this position and I set the scene number to 1. Okay, so that was important for me. When I do die, and I have conditions of when I die over here, when I do die, I set dead equal to 1 because otherwise there's a bit with my run animation you'll see later that I don't want to work when I'm dead, right? So I just want to stay in my die costume longer. Otherwise, my run animation overwrites my die costume. I do some die animation where I lift myself up and then go down, sort of like Mario does in the real game. So that's all that is, die animation. I decrease my lives by 1, obviously. I set Star Mario to 0. Yep, that's good. I should probably also start my high jump Mario to 0 here too. I don't know why I didn't do that. And then I set dead back to 0. So now at this point my my Mario die costume could change, really. I wait 3 seconds and then I broadcast reset, and that takes me back to here. This wait 3 seconds is usually when I'm off the screen. So I really don't care if my costume is changing over here. What I care about is that my costume has changed already over here. So I'm off the screen. My costume can change all I want because you can't see them. Okay. When I click, run animation runs. Now, run animation has its own forever loop, right? So that's why I don't need a forever loop over here. But yeah, this looks super complicated only because when I have the star, so star Mario 0, and then else means when I have the star, I have different costumes for that, okay? And then when I'm dead, I want my Mario die costume there. I don't want any other costume. Okay, so very similar to probably what a lot of us have, and I have this in my base game code that I've given you already. So just wanted to show you what I eventually came up with so that I could keep my die costume on when I'm dying, and so that I could look different when I have the star power. Okay, so it looks kind of ugly, but it's really simple. It's just this bit of code right here is duplicated. That's all it is. Okay, and now in again a forever loop, I want to know if my Y position, meaning up and down, is less than negative 200. That means I fell in the hole. Okay, so I should die when that happens. If I'm touching the Koopa or touching the flower on my third screen, and I don't have the star, I die. If I'm touching Koopa and I have the star power, Koopa dies. If I'm touching sprite 3, meaning the flower, and I have the star power, the flower dies. Those are very important because I can't win the game unless I kill both of them. Okay, so that was really important to what I was doing. Okay, so if you're looking at, how do I kill my bad guy, or how does my bad guy kill me? This is how I do it, all right here. Okay, and then in conjunction, it calls out broadcast Mario die. Well, Mario die is right here. So once you have Mario die established, you can call it out multiple times, and it's going to work just the same. So that really worked well for me, especially also having that broadcast reset. That's important for Mario to go back to the right position, but I also use that later to make sure that my baddies go back to the right position. So you'll see that later. Okay, background, I think almost everybody had this already, but really just setting the background and then making it undraggable. I wouldn't have needed any of this stuff right here, this initializing code, if I just would have unclicked this. So, oh well. Set the scene number to 1. At some point when you click the green flag, you should set your scene number to 1. So that's what I did. I did it here. I don't know why I didn't do it anywhere else. I could have done it other places. Same deal here. Initialization code, could have just unclicked this. I do that a lot. Sprite. This is my hole. I should have called it hole. I don't know why I left it named sprite. But it only shows up in scene 2. So you guys should have seen this code before. So that's really important. And then same thing with all of these bricks up here. Okay, all of these bricks almost have the exact same code. Initialization code, which I could have got rid of with just clicking that. And then and then I have that it should only show up at a certain scene. That's it. So all of these are almost exactly the same. Okay, so I'm probably not going to click on any more of them. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other ones. Okay, easy enough. Now, Koopa. My Koopa was actually really smart. Okay, I did some kind of fun things with Koopa. Koopa could follow me to different screens, so you'll notice that these things are the same. Okay, so if I went to a different scene, it would follow me. All right, so that was different. So it had that code on it as well. When I clicked it, it broadcasted a reset. That's good. So this should be almost in everybody's code somewhere, that whenever you click the green flag, you broadcast a reset. When it receives reset, it starts a forever loop where it changes costume. That's its run animation right there. I just don't have a function block for it. I could have, I didn't. Okay. When I receive reset also, I want to forever go to the front layer and be subject to gravity. So this guy, when he goes off of this block, is going to fall down. That's because he's subject to gravity, right? So it's nice having that gravity block here that can just drag in, pop in a forever loop, and now he works almost just like Mario with gravity. Okay, when he hits reset, this resets his position right here. That was really important, having that reset right there. And then forever, he picks a random direction. Okay, so that's him picking a random direction. If it's 0, he goes right. If it's 1, he goes left. That's all that is. And then he does a random move from 500 to 200. It repeats it 50 to 200 times of him just moving and changing X by -1 or 1. Okay, so I also had that random direction, right? Whether you should move forward or backward was all there. So this was kind of fun. This lets him walk around and chase me, right? So that was pretty cool to do. When he dies, I change him to baddie's dead. I change that to 1. That's important for me to know because I can only win the game when baddie's dead is equal to 2. So I need to kill 2 baddies in order for that to happen. That's how I kept track of it. And then I stop his other scripts for this sprite whenever he's dead. I found that if I killed him, he would come back. So this is a way to stop all of his scripts up here. They of course reset whenever I die or I hit the reset button, right? So it works out pretty well. And this is his die animation. So he goes down by 400 steps. So he's off the screen, always off the screen. Okay, and then I hide him. So that's it. A lot going on with my Koopa, but you do not need something that difficult, right? You can just have something that moves back and forth. It's really simple. Okay, the star. A lot of people had this same code in here for power-ups. So this shows the star whenever Mario does not have the star power and the scene is 1, right? So then it disappears whenever you get the star, or it disappears whenever the scene changes. Okay, so those 2 things were important. And then initialization code, and then I just have the star glimmering, so I have it changing costumes every 0.08 seconds. Okay, I won't go through those. Sprite 2, that's just my pipe. Again, that's that's just like a brick here. It only shows up on scene 3. It has initialization code. Very simple. My flower, I had some code on as well for doing some weird moves. So forever it changed Y by 100 and then by negative 100. It just kept going up and down. Okay. If I hit reset, it went to there was just a different costume. So it also had 2 costumes, or I think 4 costumes actually, that just showed it opening its mouth and closing its mouth. So I had it doing that forever. Again, initialization code. When I hit reset or I died, Baddie's Dead was set back down to 0, so I had to kill all the bad guys again in order to win. Only shows up on scene 3. And then flowers die. The flower dies. So when I receive flower dies, change Baddie's Dead by 1. So again, I needed Baddie's Dead to equal 2 in order for a power up to show up. So so that was important. And it stopped all the scripts. Okay, and then it did some animation where it went off the screen and hid, right? So this was almost the exact same code that I used for my Koopa. Okay, this over here is a power up, even though it looks like a Mario. So if the scene is 2 and Baddie's Dead is 2 and high jump 0 is 0, high jump 0 is what I set high when I touch the high jump power up. Okay, so all of these things need to be true in order for it to show up. So basically it's like the star. When I touch it, it goes away, but it also doesn't show up until I kill both bad guys. So that was my decision to make there. Initialization code, and then, of course, when I hit reset or I die, something like that, high jump Mario is equal to 0. So I have to get it again if I had it and I died and I didn't finish the game, which almost never happens, actually. Okay. The coin. This is what I'm trying to get. This is the end of the game right here. So this only shows up on scene 2. And then if the coin is touching Mario, broadcast win. That's it. Okay. So when I broadcast win, you'll see what happens later. So I have this scene, which is when I receive win, I'm going to show that for 5 seconds. I'm going to set my lives to 3. I'm going to broadcast a reset and hide. So that's what happens when I win. Shows that scene for 5 seconds, then goes away. It has some initialization code, and then also some code. You guys all need this in there. When you press the Z button, you broadcast a reset, and everything resets back to the beginning. It's like pushing the green button, the green flag here. Okay. The die screen. So whenever I receive Mario dies, I'm going to set this to the front layer. Go back 1 layer because I want my mushrooms to show up, which are coming later. I have its size shown right there. I'm going to show for 3 seconds and then hide. Okay, so this is the background of the screen that I show when I die. Okay, and then during that scene, when I receive Mario dies, it says go to the front layer, and then if my lives are greater than 0, show for 3 seconds and then hide. So this one shows up when I have 1 life, or 1, 2, or 3 lives, right? This one almost always shows up unless I'm dead. Like I've exhausted all of my lives. This one shows up when I have 2 or 3 lives. And this one shows up when I have 3 lives. Okay, so every time I die, the more times I die, the more mushrooms go away, right? So very simple code, but allows me to tell the user how many lives they have left when they die. Of course, then when I have 0 lives, so when Mario dies, if lives is equal to 0, I'm going to show that screen. I'm going to put it to the front over on top of all these mushrooms and stuff like that, because this die screen, because that will also show up. Then I show that for 3 seconds, broadcast reset, set lives back to 3. So I'm basically starting everything all over again, right? And when I receive reset, then after I broadcast it, this thing hides, that screen hides. That's everything. Hopefully that helps you out and answers some questions. I know it was a lot, right? But I feel like if you have questions and I can't get to you right away, like right now, this is a place to go, a resource for you, and you should be able to gain some useful knowledge out of here. So I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you later.